Our tale unfolds on a stormy day on March 15, 2013, in the historical heart of Chiayi, more than a decade ago. What began as an ordinary day quickly morphed into a sequence of unsettling events following a sudden, fierce rainstorm that swept through the area. It was during this tempest that the Shueishang town police station received a most peculiar and urgent request for assistance, one that would forever change the fabric of their routine duties. The request originated from the new Taipei City Police, a department usually disconnected by jurisdictional boundaries and typical protocols. They urgently implored the Shueishang police to embark on an unusual mission, to search for a victim's body speculated to be hidden within the public restrooms under their authority. To the local officers, this plea seemed not only unexpected, but also somewhat illogical and fraught with uncertainty. Yet the urgency from the new Taipei City Police could not be understated. They disclosed that earlier that very morning, a mysterious and unsigned handwritten letter had landed on their desks. The handwriting was cramped, each character painstakingly overwritten, suggesting a deliberate attempt to mask the true identity of its author, who claimed to be a good Samaritan. The contents of this cryptic message were as chilling as the storm outside. The body of Chen Wan-ting is concealed within the men's restroom of the park, situated 200 meters from the Shueishang Farmers Association, Chiayi County. This burden is beyond my bearing. Please, intervene. Skepticism initially clouded the judgment of the new Taipei City Police, dismissing the note as a macabre hoax. However, the sincerity woven through the words of the letter urged a second consideration, prompting them to reach out to their counterparts in Shueishang. Acting with both caution and speed, the leadership of the Shueishang Town Police convened an emergency strategy meeting. They meticulously organized a search operation spanning all local public restrooms, a mission steeped in both dread and determination. The officers coordinated tirelessly, maintaining round-the-clock communication with the new Taipei City Police, ensuring a seamless flow of updates and insights. As dusk began to fold into the night, a blanket of tense anticipation settled over Shueishang town. The community, usually vibrant and bustling, was gripped by a palpable sense of unease. Finally, after 3 exhaustive hours, a breakthrough emerged. Close to the revered Shangshan Temple, a place woven deeply into the town's fabric and folklore, the Shueishang Town Police stumbled upon a critical clue that promised to unravel the mystery of the cryptic letter. In the water tank of a restroom, the police discovered a bag that resembled a basketball, oddly wrapped and sealed. The officers' initial relief at the bag's harmless appearance quickly turned to apprehension as they delved deeper. Inside the first bag was another, this one emitting a faint but growing foul odor that suggested decay. The type of the bag was immediately recognizable to the seasoned officers. It was the kind typical of those found in any local supermarket. Undeterred by the stench that intensified with each layer they peeled back, the officers unearthed several layers of clothing and, disturbingly, underwear. The scene grew increasingly macabre as they continued, the air heavy with the odor of decay. After navigating through 7 layers, a horrifying sight met their eyes. A human head, preserved yet grotesquely altered by the passage of time and the method of its concealment. The gruesome discovery sent shockwaves through the ranks of the Shueishang Town Police. Some officers were overtaken by nausea, a visceral reaction to the stark confrontation with death. The head, markedly desiccated and coated with a thick layer of salt, bore the eerie semblance to cured meat, a testament to the chilling precision of the act. Among the personal effects found with the head was a jacket containing a scrap of paper, scrawled with the name Sanchong Chen Wan-ting. This clue linked the head to an ongoing investigation led by the new Taipei City Police, who had in their possession an anonymous letter that bore strikingly similar handwriting. The implications were unsettling. The letter could have been a deliberate attempt to mislead or mock the authorities. A forensic examination of the head revealed it belonged to a female, and the meticulous cut suggested a perpetrator with substantial skill in butchery, capable of slicing through flesh with surgical precision. This led the Shueishang police to share their findings with their new Taipei city counterparts, underlining the urgency of locating the rest of the victim's remains to fully understand the scope of the perpetrator's actions. The preservation method of the head, akin to a salting process used for curing meat, presented unique challenges. It significantly hindered the decomposition, obscuring the time of death and thereby complicating the forensic analysis. This technique suggested a murderer with a deep understanding of anatomical preservation, possibly to delay the discovery or identification of the victim. As the investigation deepened, both police forces focused their forensic efforts on tracing DNA evidence on the plastic bag and the anonymous letter. Their goal was to unearth the identity of this mysterious correspondent. Despite their efforts, the probe into the letter's origins hit a frustrating standstill, akin to searching for a needle in a haystack, leaving the case shrouded in mystery as they struggled to piece together the scant clues left behind by a cunning adversary. In the depths of Taiwan's extensive missing persons database, a disturbing statistic came to light. 64 individuals named Chen Wan-ting had been reported missing across the island. Among these, the police zeroed in on one particular case, a woman from the Sanshong district of New Taipei City who had vanished without a trace in December 2012. This case stood out not just for its timing, but for the poignant details that seemed to align with a gruesome discovery recently made. Upon establishing a possible link to the decapitated remains found, the police urgently reached out to the family of the missing woman, hoping to close a chapter of uncertainty with their findings. An elderly mother, accompanied by her eldest son, responded to the somber call. They arrived at the station, hearts heavy, to undertake the grim task of identifying the remains, or more precisely, the severed head of what could be their beloved family member. The scene that unfolded was heart-wrenching. Despite the severe disfigurement that the elements in time had inflicted upon the victim's features, rendering them almost unrecognizable, the mother's connection to her daughter pierced through the visual veil. A missing upper tooth, a distinctive mark known only to those who cherished her, confirmed her worst fears. The sorrow was compounded when she recognized the clothing that wrapped the head, clothes she remembered purchasing for her daughter in happier times. Overwhelmed by grief, the mother wept inconsolably as the grim reality set in. The police, sharing in the solemnity of the moment, proceeded with a DNA comparison to remove all doubts. The test conclusively identified the victim as 34-year-old Chen Wan-ting, whose birth name was Tran Thuc Tu. Throughout the meticulous investigation, the grieving mother of Chen Wan-ting offered the police a profound insight into the tragic tapestry of her daughter's life. From a tender age, Wan-ting radiated an ethereal beauty that did not go unnoticed. In the hallways of her school, she was affectionately dubbed the Beauty Queen, a title that brought with it the adoration and admiration of many. Her striking looks even caught the eye of talent scouts from the entertainment industry, who saw in her the potential for stardom. However, the promising horizon of Chen Wan-ting's youth quickly clouded over. By the age of 15, she had fallen in with a troublesome crowd that steered her down a path marked by rebellion. She started skipping school, spending her nights in bars where the smoke hung heavy and the liquor flowed freely, eventually spiraling into drug abuse. At 18, her life took another unexpected turn when she became pregnant. Under immense pressure from her family, Wan-ting faced a stark choice: to terminate the pregnancy or forge ahead into motherhood and marriage against her family's wishes. She chose the latter, giving birth to a daughter and marrying the child's father. The young family relocated to Taoyuan City, seeking a fresh start. However, the semblance of domestic bliss was short-lived. Her husband's infidelity during his military service unraveled their marriage, leading to divorce after just 4 years. By the age of 22, a heartbroken Wan-ting returned to Sanchong to live with her brother, Chen Chia-fu. The failed marriage had taken a toll on her mental health, plunging her into depression and suicidal thoughts. Though she never succeeded in ending her life, her mental stability was severely compromised. Local gossip often centered around Wan-ting, who was seen wandering the streets at night, her face heavily made up, wearing only her night clothes. This troubling behavior prompted her mother to legally change her name from Tran Thuc Tue back to Chen Wan-ting in hopes of a fresh start. Yet the community continued to refer to her by her nickname, Atu. Desperation led Wan-ting to darker corners. She began to sell herself to survive, her clientele ranging from local gangsters to taxi drivers, with whom she engaged in fleeting, transactional relationships, all to fund her continuing drug habit. She was even known to set explicit prices for her services, bringing different men into the family home, much to the distress of her mother and brother, who felt helpless to intervene. The police investigation revealed a life marred by exploitation and vulnerability, suggesting that Wan-ting might have met her tragic end during one such perilous encounter. In the gruesome wrappings that contained her severed head, investigators found a piece of underwear stained with semen, pointing to a potential lead. They tracked down a taxi driver linked to the DNA on the underwear, but despite the match, they found no motive nor sufficient evidence to consider him a suspect. Further inquiries suggested that Wan-ting, known to the public under a different name, might have been more intimately known to the sender of an anonymous letter received by the police. This connection implied that the anonymous informant was deeply familiar with her, adding a layer of complexity to the case. The plot thickened as neighbors reported unsettling incidents. One claimed that Wan-ting had confided in being forced into a sexually exploitative relationship by her brother Chen Chia-fu as a means to obtain money. Another neighbor complained about a foul stench from the building's drains, which emitted an unbearable mix of decaying meat and grease. Upon complaint, Chen Chia-fu, typically reclusive and irritable, behaved uncharacteristically helpful, offering to clear the drains himself, an offer that seemed suspiciously out of character. This unusual behavior, combined with the discovery that Chen Chia-fu had taken out multiple life insurance policies on Wan-ting, amounting to tens of thousands of dollars, shifted the police's focus toward him. The circumstances led to a chilling hypothesis. Chen Chia-fu might have orchestrated his sister's murder to cash in on the insurance, a sinister plot cloaked in familial betrayal. Chen Chia-fu was born in 1975, just 2 years before his sister, Chen Wan-ting, entered the world. His life took a conventional route initially. He completed high school, but soon after dropped out and pursued a career in culinary arts, although his job as a chef never provided him with stable employment. As life threw its curveballs, Chia-fu found himself at the helm of family responsibilities when his younger sister developed mental health issues and began receiving a monthly government subsidy. His mother, trusting his judgment, asked him to manage Wan-ting's financial aid, splitting it into 2 parts to ensure she had a steady allowance throughout the month. To the outside world, and particularly to their neighbors, Chen Chia-fu exemplified the role of a devoted brother. He was often seen preparing meals for Wan-ting, handing her some cash for her expenses, and gently guiding her home if she seemed lost outside. Known in the community as a quiet, non-smoking, and sober man, Chia-fu's introverted nature meant he kept to himself, having few friends and seldom engaging in social activities. However, the facade of a reticent, caring brother hid a much darker persona that only emerged in the privacy of his own obsessions. The chilling depth of Chen Chia-fu's secret life began to unravel following a routine investigation by the police into his personal effects. It was during this search that officers stumbled upon a disturbing discovery. Chia-fu was not just a fan, but a deeply obsessed admirer of the popular actress Trak Van Hoyen. His adulation crossed the boundaries of normal fandom into the realm of the perverse. Within his possessions were numerous explicit love letters penned to the actress, filled with obscene declarations of love and desire. More alarmingly, he sent semi-nude photographs to Trak Van Hoyen, addressing her as "my beloved wife," and issuing veiled threats concerning her on-screen romantic scenes, which he demanded she refuse, claiming they provoked his jealousy and wrath. In a particularly grotesque gesture, Chia-fu had once sent the actress a piece of toilet paper marked with his semen, an act that underscored the disturbing level of his infatuation. When confronted with these actions during police interrogation, Chia-fu confessed to suffering from erectile dysfunction, an admission he believed might explain or mitigate his behavior, though it did little to assuage the severity of his actions. Further investigation revealed that Chen Chia-fu's personal life was marked by contrasts and apparent contradictions. He was married to Lu Miu, a 23-year-old woman from the prosperous Fujian province. Lu Miu hailed from a well-to-do family, a stark contrast to Chia-fu's more humble and unstable background. His father had passed away over a decade ago, leaving his mother unemployed and the family finances in a precarious state. The narrative took a darker turn when, following the grisly discoveries, Lu Miu abruptly returned to Fujian on February 26, 2013. Her initial claim that she was attending a funeral did not sit well with the authorities, who sensed the inconsistency in her story. Under closer scrutiny, she confessed to having discovered a human head in Chen Chia-fu's refrigerator, an accidental yet horrifying find. Driven by fear that she too might become a victim if she stayed silent or compliant, Lu Miu fled. The police immediately arrested Chen Chia-fu. It was at the police station where Chen Chia-fu confessed to the entire horrifying truth about the incident. Chen Chia-fu's actions, beginning in late 2011, were part of a meticulously crafted plan that slowly unfurled over the subsequent years. His scheme commenced with the acquisition of multiple insurance policies on his sister, Chen Wan-ting, one of which unfortunately lapsed due to non-payment. In December 2011, leveraging the fact that his older brother was being treated with psychiatric medications, Chen Chia-fu deceitfully obtained a mental disorder certificate by claiming mental illness was hereditary in his family. By March 2012, he successfully secured a second-degree mental disorder certificate, establishing a foundation for his future defense, should his nefarious actions be uncovered, an exit strategy to potentially mitigate legal consequences through a psychiatric evaluation. Chen's preparations escalated in May 2012 when he started accumulating black plastic bags, ostensibly for household use, but with a far more sinister purpose in mind: the dismemberment and disposal of his sister's body to minimize the risk of detection by neighbors or passers-by. The grim culmination of his plan is believed to have occurred shortly after their mother returned to Keelung on December 9, 2012. It was then that Chen allegedly strangled his sister, Chen Wan-ting, subsequently dismembering her body and disposing of most of it through the sewer system, using a meat grinder to facilitate the process. He meticulously preserved her head by freezing it, intending to use it later as a diverging piece of evidence. After Lu Miu, his wife, left him, Chen decided it was time to dispose of the frozen head. He ingeniously wrapped it in underwear marked with the semen of several men, aiming to mislead the police into investigating a sexual assault, thereby diverting attention from himself. However, despite these manipulative efforts, the police, following a thorough and precise investigation, were not led astray. In the early hours before dawn on March 13, 2013, after taking precautionary measures by borrowing a knife and gloves from his workplace, Chen donned a white coat and helmet, carrying the ominous black plastic bags. He changed his attire at a train station restroom, donning a black life jacket to alter his appearance, then traveled to Chiayi, where he had once served as a soldier. There, he deposited the plastic bag containing his sister's head in a public restroom at the Shangqin Temple. Fearing that the head might be discovered and discarded by cleaning staff before it was properly identified, Chen crafted an anonymous letter to the police 2 days later, on March 15th. He altered his handwriting to obscure his identity. However, his reference to the victim by name in the letter was a critical error that ultimately led the police to suspect his involvement. The investigation was further supported by surveillance footage that captured Chen's disguised figure during his disposal trip. Despite his denials, his presence in Chiayi was confirmed by phone call records. While the rest of Chen Wan-ting's remains were never recovered from the sewage system, the discovery of her DNA in a rice cooker and bloodstains on a bathroom wall at their home tied Chen Chia-fu directly to the crime. Despite his clever preparations and multiple contingency plans, prosecuting him proved complex. Chen Chia-fu continued to maintain his innocence, even under a lie detector test, and adopted a bizarre courtroom defense claiming alien manipulation. His feigned insanity was seen through by the authorities, however, and a psychiatric evaluation ordered by the judge at the National Taiwan University Medical Hospital confirmed that he was mentally fit, debunking his claims of insanity. The layers of deceit Chen Chia-fu wove were intricate and his plans cunning, but ultimately, justice began to see through the veil of his manipulations, moving ever closer to holding him accountable for his heinous actions. Backed by compelling evidence, the court found Chen Chia-fu guilty of a heinous murder. During the trial, the gravity of the crime led the defense to request the death penalty, a measure reflecting the severity of Chen's actions. Yet in a heart-wrenching appeal before the court, Chen Chia-fu's mother, torn between her love for both her children, implored the judge for leniency. "Both are my children, and though it's hard to accept what has happened, what else can be done? I hope the judge will forgive Fu and give him a chance," she pleaded, her voice a poignant echo in the somber courtroom. On April 30th, 2015, the judge, moved by the filial piety and the profound grief of Chen Chia-fu's mother, who had not only lost her daughter, but now faced the possible execution of her son, opted for a sentence of life imprisonment instead of the death penalty. This decision, while merciful, stirred a wave of unrest and discontent among the community members who had been following the case closely. Amidst the ongoing public discourse, eerie tales began to circulate about a female ghost haunting the public restroom at Shangqin Temple, the site linked to some of the darker aspects of the case. These ghost stories, fueled by the grisly nature of the crime and the temple's ancient backdrop, captured the local imagination for a while before gradually fading from public interest as the community sought to move past the unsettling events. As life in Shueishang town slowly returned to its usual pace, the profound sorrow of Chen Wan-ting and Chen Chia-fu's mother lingered. Each day, she continued to face the immense pain of her double loss, the death of her daughter and the incarceration of her son. Her plight remained a poignant reminder of the enduring human cost of the tragedy, echoing the complex interplay of justice, forgiveness, and the search for peace after such a profound familial betrayal.